Well, thank you. I'm so glad that you felt that because I feel the same way. So it's nice to know that it's making that impact. You know, when Pablo and Sophia, the writer, director, producer, sent me the film Cold, I loved it about what they made and the integrity of the storytelling, the respect for every character, obviously Abby, Sierra McCormick's like this, the respect for a teenage girl finding her way, you know, and the care. And also the care for me too, the dad, about the struggle of, okay, what do I do? My daughter's moving in with me. My ex-wife died and I haven't been in her life day to day. Um, so I knew from the beginning when I met with Pablo and Sophia and talked with them that we both kind of, worship the same God, as you would say, in terms of nuance, complexity, compassion, failure of character, And so they made something so special, and I actually am really proud of it. I think it's their first film, you know? They're like, I don't know, 26, something like that. It's 25. It's their first film. It has such integrity to it. And yeah, it's a coming of age movie. And I don't know for you what when I think of a coming of age movie, I think back to Breakfast Club. The Breakfast Club was sort of my coming of age movie. And there's a bunch of great ones. And this one captures the coming of age for right now. We made it in 2022, but it captures what it is to be 15-year-old coming of age right now. You know?
So what kind of person is David, your character?
Well, so it takes place in Mill Valley, right outside of San Francisco. There's a lot of people in the tech industry there. It's a beautiful, it's suburban, but so he's crunchy, he's like a crunchy dad who has a girlfriend. They want to have a family, and he's divorced. It doesn't seem like it was a particularly like horrible divorce, but he's been the breadwinner while his ex-wife was going through cancer, and he was supporting his daughter and his ex-wife, and now suddenly he's the primary caregiver, energy as well as financial, and so he's doing the best he can. He struggles in the beginning, but ultimately I feel like they both find a way, a
They
step
do,
toward.
but it was long and difficult for both of you, both characters, to communicate because there's a big gap, I think. So
Yeah,
that's what I thought that she was running. She thought that she could solve every problem, and then she needed love, but also she wanted to be rejected or reject the world. It's very complicated. So
yeah.
as a parent, what did you learn? I think you have two kids. Maybe I'm mistaken. I don't know.
No, I don't have any children. I wish I
I
had
thought
kids.
in an
Don't.
interview you said, I think you said something, but no, maybe I'm wrong. But
I have a
what have you
dog,
learned
a beautiful
from,
dog.
regardless? That's okay.
Um, what did he learn? Sorry, what did you? I mean, I think he learned. I was talking to somebody. I have a lot of friends with kids that are in high school now and college, which blows my mind. And I have a lot of nieces and nephews, and I'm always really interested in how they're each handling, especially this chapter, because of so much that comes at you from puberty to peer pressure, social media, and drugs, sex, all those things. And I'm always intrigued, like how are you navigating that? And a lot of people came before there was such there are some parents who are super strict, super guidelines. I didn't have that experience growing up, but it feels like generationally, people coming out of that really were more invested in wanting their child to find out who they are, find their own voice, find their own passion. And what can also happen on the other side of it is if you don't put bumpers in, if you don't put guardrails in, because ultimately somebody is 40 years old and somebody is 15, somebody has to sort of parent. And I have witnessed with some friends the reticence, what feels like oppression of character, which you don't want to do, but also it's like actually that's just you have to be the parent. And sometimes you just have to say, well, this isn't actually up for discussion. Um, I'm going through some stuff right now, different, but with elder care, like when you get older, and your parents reach a point where you suddenly have to start making executive decisions because they're older and there's health things and ego things and cognitive things. And it's really hard. It's
That's really
really
tough.
where you have to say, especially when you don't have kids, because you don't have that, you haven't practiced that, where you just have to say, this isn't up for discussion. And you have to find the patience to deliver bad news and upsell, if you're going to move them into a facility or something like that. It's
You become
that,
the parent.
yeah, you become the parent for sure. It's
So,
hard. And
Jason,
have a
I want to
backstory.
know, when you jump into a character like this one, you jump into it, you go to the set, you start, do you have to forget who you are and become this other person, or how does it work as an actor?
I mean, it's different. On some roles, where I like to do a lot of research when I'm playing a real person, of course. Like I just finished the Monsters Menendez series where I play the detective Zoller who solved the case. And that I did a bunch of research and everything. This one is more about sometimes it's like sometimes you basically, as you figure out a character, you're like, oh, and you sort of are turning up this dial from yourself and you're turning down this dial of yourself. I mean, it's the given circumstances are the circumstances that are, I've never experienced this. I haven't had a teenage daughter, but there are things that I can obviously relate to and tap into and imagine. Um,
Because in
it's,
a way, I think that David is between two worlds. The daughter
yeah.
who has a conflict because she's a teenager and she's exploring the world, and then the wife being pregnant. So he's turned into two worlds that are in conflict. That I'm sure that was tough. That's tough, no?
Yes, like on the one hand, you can look at a guy, it's not wrong. You can look at a guy who has a younger girlfriend than him anyway, and also wanting to have a baby. I don't think he's doing it. I don't think he's doing it like out of a midlife crisis, which some
Oh,
men, I don't think there's that. I think look, I think divorce happens and then you find love again, or you want to find love and she wants to have a baby and you're like, okay, let's do it. And they're trying and it's hard. I don't know that they stay together, by the way. Like I feel like that relationship's over by the end of the movie.
I think I think
Like,
they won't stay together because I think that the new wife is a little too immature for my taste.
yeah, she's a little tough, and I feel like,
She should be the grown up too, but she's I don't know.
yeah, it's like I feel like when I watch it, it's like because she never had to raise children in any way herself, she's not as she's not as flexible in adapting to this new world where there's a young voice that, listen, understandably doesn't like her because her mom just died. So why is she gonna like this person
My
that she
last
thinks?
question. I think you did a great job in letting us know how much you love your daughter and how much you want to communicate, but I mean, there's something impenetrable. So
Yeah,
I like
thank you.
that.
I thank you so much. It was so important to us to find that journey and to he fails, for the bulk of the movie, really until the last beautiful scene in a way. He fails, he succeeds a little bit, but for the most part, he's failing and struggling because he doesn't want to come in too hard. And then they find their way. But yes, it's nice that he loves her so much and is finding his own journey. Listen, it's a coming of age story for her more than anything, but in some ways, it's a coming of age story for him too, where it's like you actually have to step up in a different way than you've ever done before and parent and love
Oh,
someone.
Jason, I have the last question. When you go into a project, do you think of money or experience, or it depends?
It's all of it. It always changes. Listen, if there's a great role and a great script, 9 times out of 10, I will do it. And I've sacrificed money and time and I will do it. Um, and there's a lot of roles I don't want to do. And there's a lot of things that I say no to. By some weird fluke, my first big successful moment was in Changeling, where I played a guy who, you know, kidnapped and killed kids with Angelina Jolie.
Yeah.
I had never played anything dangerous before. It's not remotely who I am at all. Like I usually on stage on Broadway, there are heavy dramas and there's comedies and stuff like that. But it was the first one, so it kind of set the die. So in the same way that I don't like flexing the same muscles over and over. And also, as I get older, and especially in the current world, I'm very conscious about what we're putting out into the world. And it's not that there aren't bad people. It's not that we don't need genre movies that lean into it, but I'm very conscious about what I have to put in my body and also what I'm putting out in the world, especially if it has to do with violence against young women. I have a real thing about why are we seeing it this way at this point. But anyway, and then at the same time, you know, bills have to get paid and you gotta case by case, you know. I did some teaching recently up at Cal Arts for the students that my friend was like, will you come teach 2 weeks of Shakespeare with them? And I said, sure. And I said to them, I was like, look, the no's and the yeses in your career, they're so easy and they're so few and far between. If Clint Eastwood comes and says he wants you to do a film, Steven Spielberg, you're like, okay, that's a yes. If this someone says, oh yeah, so it's going to be like porn, which no shame on porn. If you want to do porn, do porn. But for the most part, that's going to be a no. But it's the middle gray area where you have to try to take care of the artist in yourself and what you're offering and what you want to do with also the opportunity of something and of course the money of something, the exposure of something, you know.
Wonderful.
We're
Thanks,
in a
Jason.
crazy time. The whole film industry is kind of crashing,
I
burning,
know.
reinventing, you know, the
I know.
industry, the studio system. So who knows what is going to be made, how, what we're going to watch, where we're going to watch it. It's a yes, in one hand, it's a scary time, but on the other hand, there is tremendous opportunity here. And I don't know what that reinvention is going to be, but
But I do
I
agree that we need to be
it's
responsible of
yes,
the
good
message that.
storytelling,
Hmm,
right? Sorry to
yeah.
interrupt you. Good story and compassion. I feel like we're in this funny place now where we're really needing to show nuance and practice of compassion and humanity because I don't know if it's the devices or what it is. Somehow we're just distancing ourselves from that enough that it's wreaking havoc.
It's true. I agree. So, Jason, have a great afternoon and thanks a lot.
You too. Thank you so much
It
for
was a
meeting with
cool
me.
movie. And I met Pablo and Sofia. They were
Aren't
great.
they the best? They're just the
And so
kindest.
young, they're like what, 12 or something,
I know,
15.
right? That this is their first film and I just think it has a good look, great music. I think it's nice. It's nice.
Thank you so much. Have a good evening
You too.
or
See
day. Sorry.
you.
Ciao.
Bye.
The recording stop.